Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you, amazingly enough, by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is August 24th. It is Thursday night, and this is live stream 956. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally we will take a first look at a game, or I might do a live review. But tonight we are going to dive in and take a first look at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Winds of Magic, from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. This is the new Magic supplement for WFRP. We're going to dive on in and take a peek at this tonight. But I will point out that we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So if you are tuning in because you want to see the live first look at Winds of Magic, kick back, relax, take it easy. It's probably going to be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get into that first look and page through. So just relax and enjoy. Now, if you happen to be watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream has ended, then there will be timestamps. So you can actually go into the show notes and click on one of the timestamps. You can jump past tabletop gaming news if you're impatient and you really want to get into that first look. You can do that. But I do have some cool tabletop gaming news tonight. I always have cool tabletop gaming news just about every show. So you may not want to just automatically jump past that. Also want to mention that depending on the device you might be watching this on, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline of the video itself. Once again, all depends on the device you happen to be watching this on. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you are a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours, you can take part. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about Winds of Magic you want a closer peek at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. And I have to point out, I sort of have the feeling that my chat is not connected at the moment. So let's take a peek. Because normally by now, I will have had somebody say hello in chat. So I am going to disconnect, and then I am going to reopen the chat here. Yes, there we go. I was going to say, seemed awfully lonesome. I was like, wait a second. I know there got to be some people watching live. For some strange reason, my chat window was not connected, but here's the really bizarre thing. So I usually type up a little kind of intro howdy thing for chat, right? So it's always like, oh, happy Thursday. Stay tuned. We're going to take a look at this. And I'm going to share the news, something to, get chat off and running. So it showed me post that in that chat window and then nothing. And then here, I just opened up a new chat window. It shows that post and everybody who's hanging out in chat at the moment. So first out the gate tonight was Kathy Evans. We've got the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman, one of our chat moderators, is hanging with the gang, as is Roger Perdome, Scott B. Smith, Kevin R. Smith, Flaming Huron, another chat moderator from across the pond. Jack Hanks is hanging out, and so is Kevin King. And I'll take a stab in the dark. I know I shouldn't take a stab in the dark because that's where she usually hides. At least that's what she says. I would take a guess Sarah D is probably with us as well. So we've got a trio, most likely, of chat moderators hanging around in chat tonight. Very nice. All right, so let's jump on into the news because I've got a good eclectic mix tonight. First off, October is going to bring a new war game release from Phalanx Games. In fact, there's a few titles that are arriving in October, but one which really caught my eye is Coalitions. Here's the lowdown. Coalitions is based on the series of conflicts known as the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. Players representing major European powers compete against each other to shape the future of the continent. The innovative and elegant game system allows a historical recreation of the conflicts, but better yet, can also create plausible alternative histories. The alliances may take different forms. The campaigns may be fought along different lines of approach, but what the players witness is still a believable version of history. Coalitions brings the whole continent of the Napoleonic Wars into a fast, playable system. Multiplayers with no downtime. Each turn, every player is doing something, but doing something different. This sets up an unexpected cycle like nothing you've ever played before. Cool wooden pieces, or if you go with the Kickstarter version, you'll also see some pretty nice looking miniatures. Throughout the period, Britain formed coalitions with almost any nation that would stand against France. Whenever a coalition was defeated, Britain sought to form a new one with states that would carry on the fight. Nations also had other motives to fight wars, often seeking to expand their own borders at the cost of their neighbors. Britain itself fought the French in Portugal and Spain, and with almost total control of the sea, sent military expeditions wherever there was a chance of harassing the French. Can the Emperor of Austria protect the German Reich and northern Italy from the revolutionary armies? Will the Prussian king and Russian Tsarina join as allies or not? Will the Ottoman Empire be able to protect Egypt, the Balkans, and Caucasus from the aggressive neighbors? When you play coalitions, you decide the destiny of Europe. Your decisions will make history. Will you guide France to greatness? Will you galvanize and unite Europe to bring an end to the infant republic and restore the ancient regime? Or maybe there's a Metternich in you, able to deceive others and bluff your way to victory with a cunning smile. Each player controls one of six asymmetric factions: France, England, Austria, Prussia, Russia, or Turkey. They then try to form an alliance, insisting that it will be beneficial to all, although only one player can actually win. Throughout the game, players try to capture and consolidate key positions, which will earn victory points during the relevant phase. Coalitions is for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 1 to 3 hours. It's going to carry an MSRP of $74.95 when it lands in stores in October. Should also mention at the same time, there will be 3 expansions that are coming out for Coalitions. strangely enough, ranging in price from, I want to say $39.95 to like $69.95, almost the cost of the actual core game. But they cover other conflicts, other participants. But I gotta say, this has piqued my interest. And I gotta mention that I'm getting a serious diplomacy vibe out of this. Yes, everybody's making deals, wheeling and dealing, making alliances, coalitions, and only one player can win, though. Yep, that sounds a lot like diplomacy. Of course, diplomacy is supposed to be pre-World War I, but, and of course, this is the late 18th, early 19th centuries, but very, very interesting. I'm going to maybe try to see if I can take a peek at this. So Sarah D is hanging out, says she likes it in the dark because redheads burn in the lights. So the madman also points out that the evil madman would suggest joining 5 minutes late on Tuesday to mess with me. Yeah, okay, all right. Actually, I think the stream was more than 5 minutes old when I was like, I gotta see what's going on. So I was a little distracted as I was doing the introduction, because usually within seconds, somebody's popping up saying, howdy, hey, howdy, everybody. Not today, but I didn't panic. I figured, it's YouTube's messed up with the chat. It happens. Let's talk about some role-playing game news, because the second edition of Cthulhu Hack is available in print and PDF from Just Crunch Games. Here's the scoop. Cthulhu Hack 2E. Investigation and revelation in a dark universe. A simple game of Lovecraftian nightmares, pitting ordinary people against the terrors of a dark universe. A 156-page book with almost all you need to start. Just find yourself some dice and something to write with and on. It's a fast and simple system with just two mechanics: saves and resources that handle your ability to escape threats and manage your dwindling faculties for investigation and sanity. Streamlined and written from the ground up, 2E is compatible with all first edition material, or just easily adapted with a little consideration. Speed and simplicity remain at the heart of the game, with guidance and a lengthy example of play to get you in the thick of it by the close of the introduction. The bookmarked core book offers simple mechanics to handle threats and investigation using a standard set of 7 polyhedral dice, from your 4-sided die to your 20-sided die. Ready to play archetypes for quick pickup play, or a fast and flexible character creation system to tailor investigators to your specific needs. There's a horde of mythos horrors, including the deep ones, elder things, shamblers, and Shoggoth, to challenge your investigators, as well as a complete and expanded adventure, Save Innsmouth, regoes with colorful descriptions and plentiful guidance to make your investigation your own. This 156-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $39.95. You can grab the soft cover for an MSRP of $23.95, or grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG at the current sale price. That's right, because the Cosmic Horror Sale is still going on. So you can grab this in PDF for $8.99. It's normally $11.99. I have always heard good things about Cthulhu Hack. I like the Black Hack, which is what this is built on. I like Black Hack quite a bit. Don't necessarily know if I would turn to it as my, personal choice of rules light fantasy role-playing games. But when you think about it, we don't have a whole lot of rules light mythos games that are worth their salt. There's one that's just god awful, Lovecraft-esque, which I understand is getting a second edition. It's like, oh my God, I can only imagine how bad that's going to be. So it's like, yeah, let's make a role-playing game and base it on the works of an author that we hate. And we will continue to rag about them throughout the entire book. It's like, yes, we get it. H.P. Lovecraft, racist, anti-Semitic, closed-minded. Yes, we get it. Flaming Huron says, 2 times as bad? Maybe. Man, that would put it into like a negative review score. But I'm talking about the second edition of Cthulhu Hack, which had a very, very successful crowdfunding project run. So this is out now in print and PDF. So move on to some more role-playing game news, because you can score big savings right now with the Everywhen role-playing game Bundle of Holding. Here's the deets on the deal. Adventurer. This Everywhen bundle presents, you guessed it, Everywhen, the rules light universal tabletop role-playing game system from Garnet Elliott at 13th Planet Games, which is based on Simon Washburn's cult classic sword and sorcery fantasy role-playing game, Barbarians of Lemuria. Adapting the fast, fun BOL 2D6-based system and character careers, Everyone adds rules for vehicles, chases, investigations, social conflicts, psionics, and mass battles, suitable for campaigns in any era or background. Play every kind of character, from ancient Mesopotamians to Shaolin monks, 16th century vampire hunters to World War II commandos, and Miami Vice cops to space truckers, all using the eminently hackable Everyone, which has been called the AK-47 of indie games. That's an interesting quote. This all-new offer brings you almost the entire Everyone line for an unbeatable bargain price. For just $7.95, you'll get all 4 titles in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $30, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Everyone core rulebook, plus the free supplement Weapons and Armor, and the quick start solo adventure, the Fomorian Pulse-Pounding Pulp, the scenario anthology Anyone Adventures, and Darkness Supernatural Creatures. And if you pay more than the current threshold price, at least as of this afternoon, of $15.56, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 6 more supplements and adventures worth an additional $37, including the Vikings versus Mythos campaign sourcebook, Weird Sales, and 5 settings and adventures that range widely across genres. Blood Sundown and its adventure Dragon by the Bay, Neon Punk Crisis and its scenario Escape from Old Tokyo, and the rocket punk setting Red Venus. Do want to mention these savings run through September 11th, and there is no charity benefiting from this bundle. I know I've shared news about Everyone once before, so I don't recall what it was. It may have been the core book, but this sounds pretty interesting. So if you're looking for a nice rules light sort of genre agnostic role-playing game system without getting, too crunchy, this might be worth a peek. So Jack Hanks points out that Goodman Games has tons of stuff right now on Humble Bundle for Dungeon Crawl Classics. And hold on, what's the other? Boy, I'm telling you, I hate that stupid little heart icon blocking off what people are writing. And Dungeons and Dragons for like $20. So it must be some of their 5th edition fantasy, as well as Dungeon Crawl Classics. I will look to maybe share a news piece about that next week. So if you are interested in checking out everyone, this is definitely a time to do so and be able to do it for a very small price. My final news piece, Evil Hat Productions has released the Codex of Worlds for the Monster of the Week role-playing game. Here's what I know. Your team gets stronger, the world gets weirder. Unite your party of hunters with new team playbooks and take your supernatural adventures into alternate genres and fresh settings with this huge expansion for the acclaimed Monster of the Week RPG. Choose from 15 different new team playbooks and give your characters new allies, new moves, and new assets. Don your suit and sunglasses as Agents in Black. Give your game that Saturday morning cartoon vibe as the Mystery Club. Protect your home from magical incursions as Guardians of the Borderland. Guard the galaxy from supersized threats as the Interdimensional Crisis Team. And more. All in all, the Codex of Worlds offers a dozen new team playbooks which unite and support your characters in their battle against supernatural evil. For keepers, leave the modern day behind with 5 new series frameworks. These worlds give you new settings and alternate timelines to challenge your hunters. Explore a mansion packed with occult secrets in this strange old house. I wonder if that features the ghost of Bob Vila. Ooh. Journey into a supernatural age of industry and Gothic century. Dive into a surreal and mystical alternate renaissance in Dreaming with the Gods. Contend with spirits and colonizers in the medieval fantasy of monster marches. Strive for harmony between your enclave of Stone Age humans and the animalistic spirits that surround them in Bone Spear, not Spur. Each framework includes game tweaks, new threats, and an introductory mystery to get you started, or take inspiration from your own sources and use the advice inside to build your own monstrous world. The Codex of Worlds. The moves are bigger, the stakes are higher, and the world gets weirder. You grasp the Codex in your hands, open its pages, and step forth into new adventures. You can score the 416-page, yes, you heard that right, 416-page, the Codex of Worlds for Monster of the Week in hardcover with PDF for an MSRP of $40 through the Evil Hat website. Now, if you'd prefer to get the soft cover, also with the PDF, you can snag that over at DriveThruRPG for $30, or you can grab just the PDF alone, once again at DriveThruRPG, for $20. Gotta say, this is a huge book. And that is a mighty friendly price, everybody. For 416 pages, $40, hardcover with PDF. Now, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Evil Hat Productions also recently released, I guess within maybe the last year or two, a second edition of Monster of the Week as well. So that might be something to take a peek at. I've always been kind of curious about Monster of the Week because, as far as I understand, its design philosophy was built on TV shows like The X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural. I think Supernatural is like the top series that inspired Monster of the Week. And I've always been, kind of curious about this. Unfortunately, I don't think Evil Hat likes me. Yeah. Yes, I reviewed their cooperative card game. The books that are by Jim Butcher, Dresden Files. And didn't really care for it too much. And I don't think they were too happy with me. So, which sucks because Evil Hat's got a lot of cool stuff. You know. So, I mean, it happens. It happens. There are some publishers out there that, you know, just take not, I mean, it wasn't like super negative. It was, if I remember right, I think it was like a 6 out of 10 or something. And the funny thing is, it was actually my best friend, Elliot Miller, who's a huge fan of the Jim Butcher books, who had read umpteen of them. I think he listened to audiobooks, to be honest. He was the one who was really upset about the game and disappointed by the game. Me, I was like, it's all right. Yeah, we played it. Okay. But yeah, you know, can I tell you, I'd like to check out stuff from Evil Hat, but like I said, I don't think they like me much. But hey, I'm more than happy to share news about their releases. So there's that. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, even Wargame Vault, what have you, stop by thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Of course, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, you just like what we do, you can always stop by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Notice how I time that nowadays? It's like, yeah, okay. Buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda so I can wet my whistle here real quick. I'm tricky like that. Anywho, thank you to all of you out there who use the banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. It is vastly appreciated because if you're not overly familiar with the Gaming Gang, you may not know. I do not do Patreon. I do not do Kickstarters. I don't do any sort of like members only thing that you have to pay for. So unlike many outlets out there, I do my best to not reach into your pocket, right? So there is that. Kevin King points out Troll Lord Games is re-releasing Castle Zagyg. Trying to remember if that's how they were pronouncing it or not. And the Gygax estate approved it. Anyone played it? Okay, so Kevin, you're jumping my train, man. Because I'm actually supposed to be interviewing. See, this was going to be a secret. I'm interviewing Davis, Stephen, Chenault, Davis and Stephen, I said Chenault from Troll Lord Games. Luke Gygax is supposed to be part of the interview as well. It's supposed to be tomorrow. I want to say 2:00. So I'm not sure if that's going to get pulled off or not. This was set up a few days ago, but yes, I knew they had a big announcement. I didn't know what it was, but I did know it had something to do with the Gygax estate because Luke Gygax was going to be part of the announcement. So, and he was going to be part of the interview as well. So we'll see. We shall see. We'll get a little more info about that. So as far as Castle Zagyg, there's a lot out there for it. And it's been out of print for a long time. And if you try to find it through the secondary market, it is very, very expensive. So here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be some huge revamp. I really don't. I think it is going to be just kind of a reissue, because if you're familiar with Castles and Crusades, and I have talked about Castles and Crusades quite a bit, I have reviewed the core books. I shared a why you should play video about Castles and Crusades. You should know that the editions don't change. So it's been around since 2000, early 2000s, if I remember correctly. And it's pretty much stayed the same. Unfortunately, some of the typos have remained throughout the various print runs, because I think right now, I think the Player's Handbook is on their 9th printing. So I like it a lot. I like Castles and Crusades because it's got old school vibe, new school mechanics. So if you were looking to introduce 5e players to more of an old school take on fantasy role playing, Castles and Crusades is a fantastic option. And it's got loads and loads of content. They have bundles all the time with really, really heavily discounted pricing as well. So, in fact, I think, if I remember correctly, I think the Player's Handbook can be found free in PDF from Troll Lord Games. And here's the thing. So there's the Player's Handbook. There's it's the Castle Keeper's Guide, because that's what they called it, the GM, the Castle Keeper. And then there's the, I forget the title of it. Oh, Monsters and Treasure, which is sort of their monster manual. So here's the thing. The Castle Keeper's Guide is not like the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's all optional content. So all the rules that you need for the game are actually included in the Player's Handbook. And we're talking, I guess, earlier print runs broke up like from 1st to 12th level, thereabouts, for player characters in the Player's Handbook. And then higher level adventuring was in the Castle Keeper's Guide. That is no longer the case. It's all in the Player's Handbook. And once again, like I said, I think they still offer it absolutely free. It's an older cover, so it doesn't have the like homage to the AD&D books. If you have checked out my reviews or first looks at the books, you've seen them. They're really cool. So Tessie Trekkie asks, what game? Castles and Crusades? Yes. So we are discussing, I think it was Kevin King had mentioned that Troll Lord Games had announced that they're going to print up a new edition of Castle Zygag, which is Gary Gygax. And I was like, sweet, very cool. Mr. Marmello's with us, dropping another super chat with like a flasher or something. It's a lemon-headed character flashing us. What? Just joking. But yes, I will hopefully, I didn't get an email confirming anything today, but hopefully I will be doing an interview once again with David Chenault, Stephen Chenault, and Luke Gygax. I don't think Chuck is going to be part of the interview. He's their PR guy, but he's the one setting it all up. So we shall see. You'll find out tomorrow night. If we do the interview, it'll be up tomorrow night. I got a lot of stuff cooking over the weekend, gang. So stay tuned. I'll be talking about that in just a bit. All righty. So tonight we are going to be diving on in to take a look at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Winds of Magic from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. But before we do that, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
We've brought back those good old-time flavors, and today they're better than ever. All these delicious treats are waiting for you at the refreshment stand. Delicious fresh popcorn, ice-cold cola, and candy you know and love. They're all ready for you now, so you won't have to miss any of the feature. Come and get them.
If anybody asks you, I'm a natural man. If anybody asks you, I'm a natural man. Well,
when you hit a dry spell, what's the natural way to wet it down?
Honey, how about a beer?
With a tall, cold Duke. Duke's great natural flavor comes from aging slow and easy the way beer's supposed to be aged. Come on. Get back to the natural flavor of Duke.
And I take my pleasure natural as I can. Well, there ain't no place.
And I had to pick a natural man.
Duke is the natural beer for the natural man.
One truckload Wilkins regular coffee? Check.
What was that?
Wilkins instant coffee? Check.
From Gilbert Autorama comes the excitement and competition of the famous Indianapolis Speedway, featuring the exclusive new Gilbert Flyover Chicane. Watch the stock cars in slow motion. Up and go. Gilbert makes cars rugged enough to take this kind of punishment. And look at the great assortment of Gilbert cars to choose from. The roughest, toughest, most realistic cars on the road. Past the timer, through the lap counter. Now with stock cars up to the Gilbert Flyover Chicane. Only this time, in midair, the cars change lanes. And look, just like that, your Gilbert car track can become a horse race track with these exclusive lively trotters. Get all these Indianapolis Speedway extras separately, and be sure to get your complete Gilbert Autorama layout. Look at Gilbert toys first. They last.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
Yes, let me have that Duke beer because I'm a natural man. It's like, okie doke. Right. Very interesting little side note about that. That commercial was directed by George A. Romero. Dead serious. I think it's from 1964, 65, something like that. Yes, it is directed by George A. Romero. And then that racing set, it's like, yeah, all that indie action. Really? Because there's only 2 cars racing at the Indy 500? Yes. All right, Overboard is with us in chat, as is Anthony Good. Overboard's like, what's going on? Must have, as they popped in as the intermission was going. I noticed a couple of times people have popped into the stream during the intermission. They're like, what the hell is this? What is this? So the Madman says, Mrs. Madman would have dumped that Duke beer on his head if he had pulled something like that. So Flaming Heron says, I remember that was a big selling point with slot cars. Guess that there's only 2. So Overboard says, just bought a bunch of Warhammer Fantasy books I needed to complete my collection. They just dropped a 25% off summer sale. Yes. Cubicle 7 Entertainment has a summer sale going on right now. And I believe you have to buy 4 books to get the discount. And there are only, I got to be honest, I didn't really take a hard look at the sale. It's not everything. It's, I believe, particular titles which are on sale. And I don't know, like a little hair on the end of my nose. It's like, where the hell did that come from? Get off me! Get off me! Alrighty, so moving right along. Now that I think I got rid of that. Yeah, I think it's gone. Oh, I hate when something like that happens. Like every once in a while, I'll get like an eyelash. It's just bugging me, and it like starts like 5 minutes into the show, and I'm like, oh, come on, we gotta get to the intermission. Flaming Heron says that Sale has a lot of their releases. Tessie Trekkie says they just found the deluxe version of the Werewolf 20th Anniversary core book for sale. They bought it, telling me this because it's now in the mail. Collection completed. There you go. Very nice. Speaking of sale items, real quick, I want to mention that I want to say it's the D&D adventure book that's all the heists is like 70% off at Amazon. And the upcoming books that are coming out, I think Fendelver and below, I think they're selling it for 25% off. So it's kind of weird. Madman says, love it when those cat hairs get up your nose. Feel like a magician pulling a never-ending number of handkerchiefs out. Flaming Heron says, guess it didn't sell so well. Not surprised. Well, I remember when they did the Ravenloft, the box set that came in like the coffin, which was sort of like, what's the point of this? That was I think they sold it. I think it was originally $100 or something like that. And I think last time I had heard it was going for like $35 on Amazon. It's pretty big savings. All right. So let's talk about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Winds of Magic, which is from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. This 220-page guide to magic in the old world is available in hardcover with PDF if you pick it up from Cubicle 7 or any of their, I think, what do they call it? Not brick and mortar, but bit and mortar is what I think they call that program. You will get the PDF for free. Carries an MSRP of $49.99. Or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Winds of Magic. A couple of things I do want to mention before we jump on in. The fine folks over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment did provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's in Winds of Magic. So, Curse of Strahd Revamped is the title of that box set. And I remember I liked Curse of Strahd. I thought it was fine. I thought it was one of the better 5e releases. And then they came out with that box set, and it was sort of like, they had like really cheapo cards in it. I was like, Anyway, also want to mention that I'm using a different lens tonight because I'm trying to go through, I have 3 lenses for this camera. So I want to see which one actually does the best as far as sharpness. And so far, my Lumix. This is 25 millimeter. It's a micro 4/3 camera. So this is actually equivalent to like a 50 millimeter full, full sensor camera lens. This is the one that I feel works the best, but there is no zoom to it. And I think the one that I like the least is it's the kit lens, although this lens sells for like $300 by itself. And it does have a zoom. To me, I find the image to be kind of soft. So actually we're using a different lens. This is just a prime lens. So there is no autofocus or anything like that. So we're going to check this one out. And as far as the audio, I did cut some of the lower frequencies because it felt like there was a little too much rumble in the audio. Don't know. Roger Prudhomme says they got Curse of Strahd revamped for 50 Canadian, which is like 30 US. So let's see. We've got a lot of designers, a lot of writers, a lot of illustrators. That's why I didn't read through them all. So Roger Prudhomme says, actually, at this low price, it's actually a good product. Yeah, well, for $30 US, yeah, I would say it's for $30, because you're getting the adventure for less than the adventure cost as the MSRP, and then you got all the extras. All right, so this is essentially a magic book for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Now, what I'm curious about is if we're going to see some optional rules or different rules for magic in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, because one of the knocks a good number of people have with the 4th edition of WFRP is the magic system. They love everything else. The magic system's kind of clunky, and I agree. So what a lot of people do is they actually use 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay with the 2nd edition Games Workshop WFRP magic system. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't have the 2nd edition to actually look at to see what it is they're actually doing, but still. So we got Tales of Sorcery. We're going to get into some of the details behind the existence of magic in the old world. So we got a new era of magic. The founding of the colleges of magic. We're going to have new spells. We're going to have some new, I believe we've got some new careers in here. We've got spells from the 8 schools of magic. I believe we got some rituals. Ah, look, right here. New and revised spellcasting rules. Aha. Rules for casting spells are summarized here, but for more examples, see Chapter 8 of the WFRP Core Rulebook. These rules supersede those in the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Core Rulebook. Nice. Flaming Heron says it's strange that the magic system is generally the weakest part of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay releases. 1st edition was pretty terrible, and Flaming Heron says they only dabbled in 2nd edition, never played 3rd. Kevin King says their artwork seems less cartoony than Wizards of the Coast. That is pretty much how it works. So Jack Hanks says they've been running Curse of Strahd and have used a YouTube series by, hey, we don't talk about, no, kidding, Lunch Break Heroes. Lunchbox Heroes, that'd be weird. It has enhanced and even got his gears going to be a better dungeon master. Nice. Game masters, any game master worth their salt is always looking at different ways to become a better game master. The the game masters out there who think that, oh, well, I'm the best. I don't need to prep. I don't need to read this module. I can run this module just first time looking through it. They usually suck. Anthony Good says they love the 3rd edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Yes, from Fantasy Flight Games. So we've got some miscast tables. All right, so let's see. So we had the casting test, right? A character requires the second sight talent to perceive the winds of magic. A character with the second sight talent could use it to take intuition, perception, track, and other skill tests when sensing the winds of magic to provide information. Memorizing spells. Spellcasters memorize spells by spending the amount of XP noted in the petty magic or arcane magic talents. Grimoires are books containing notes on how to cast spells. Grimoires typically contain instructions on how to cast 4 spells from the same lore of magic. So you got your casting test. So you're gonna make a language magic test, I should say. If the casting test is successful, calculate the success level and compare it to the challenge number of the spell. If the SL are equal to or greater, wouldn't it be if the SL is? I mean, it's a success level. Or is it success? Is it considered success levels? I forget. So if it's equal to or greater than the CN, the spell is cast as described in its description. If not, the spell fails. That is one of the things I do actually like about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay's magic, and in fact, quite a few different role-playing games. Like we were talking about Dungeon Crawl Classics earlier with their big Humble Bundle. I like role-playing games where there is a chance of failure casting a spell. I'm not a fan of magic systems where the spell succeeds and the target of the spell rolls to make a save against it. So one of the reasons why I like the possible failure of spells is because I like the concept of magical mishaps. So one of the things I actually like quite a lot with the magic system from Dungeon Crawl Classics. Okay, so we're getting into some arcane spells. Belligerents of the Blood Marsh. It's kind of funny because I just did the first look at the Blood March for Forbidden Lands from our friends over at Free League Publishing. Flaming Heron says, well, casting in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay can be pretty catastrophic. Yeah, see, I like that. I like that quite a lot. So we've got some new endeavors. Are we breaking these up by schools? I don't know. I don't think so. All right, so we've got some new careers. The Beetle. Professors at the University of Altdorf and wizards at the colleges of magic tend to lose themselves in the study of their discipline. They prefer researching old volumes for obscure facts and theories or conducting experiments and furthering science over the day-to-day running of the organization they are part of. That is why these organizations require a staff of more practical bent beetles who guard the college halls, libraries, and laboratories from burglars, spies, and most of all, misbehaving students. So I have to ask, how is the sharpness on this video? Just kind of curious. We've got the mundane alchemist. Alchemists being schooled in the properties of matter are experts at producing new materials and improving existing ones. They can prepare chemical concoctions and often work together with metal workers. Theirs is a specialized kind of knowledge and one that is in high demand. The artillery school in Nolden, for example, keeps a whole department of alchemists tasked with the creation of black powder and improving its efficiency. So Overboard says, pretty clear. Kevin King says it's clear. Flaming Heron says, good for me. We've got the Master Vigilant. Even though the patriarchs of the colleges refuse to confirm their existence, the lowliest of apprentice wizards have heard of Magisters Vigilant, mages who seek out and destroy those who have broken their oaths and betrayed their order. Each college sponsors a small cadre of Magisters Vigilant through the Grey College. Though the Grey College is said to sponsor several of their members to take on the role during their careers. Got the Scryer. Looks like we've got a few here. Nice. A scarce few humans possess an ability to look back into the past to see what happened in a specific location with a certain object or to a certain person they touch. Even fewer people can use that ability without being driven out of their wits. Those people who use this rare ability regularly are known as scryers. I see dead people. Madman says before Savage Worlds Adventurers Edition, Savage Worlds spellcasting could be dangerous. A character dies due to a crit fail casting a light spell. Jeez. Glad they changed it so it isn't lethal anymore. Speaking of Savage Worlds, I have heard from Jody Black over at Pinnacle Entertainment Group. I guess we are going to take a look at Savage Worlds. I don't know if it's a core book or a box set or something like that we're going to get to take a look at. I know they've got their 20th anniversary Kickstarter that was running. That I know that's not out yet. And we're going to take a peek at Deadlands for Savage Worlds. So nice. Very nice. Kevin King says they just picked up the last parsec. They're thinking of converting it to Savage Worlds. They haven't run either version yet of Savage World. So Jack says it's clear and the pictures pop. Well, one of the good things is that our upload speed has doubled. So I'm able to get a lot more data sent to YouTube. So that does help. In fact, my nephew Cameron was watching one of the videos and he's like, what did you do? It's so much clearer now. I'm like, it's because I have the ability to actually upload, enough data. The bit rate's high enough, so it will be sharper. So there's that. So we've got alchemy. High alchemy. High alchemy takes a pinch of the principles learned in mundane alchemy and adds a dash of shaman into the mix. By choosing components rich in magical energy, an alchemist can create artifacts of great power. Only characters with the second sight talent may attempt high alchemy. So the Madman's telling Kevin King that he's played a bit of Last Parsec, and they had a lot of fun with it. All right, so we have more careers. Are we getting different careers based on the School of Magic? Nice. The Hierophant. Most common folk make no distinction between mages. They call them all wizards or less respectful names behind their backs. But among people who do make the distinction, light wizards are also known as white wizards, hierophants, or sometimes exorcists. Oh, I was so tempted to throw a line out from The Exorcist, but I'm not gonna. So here we've got the new spells here. So I have to comment. The Madman was talking about characters dying, casting a light spell. I'm trying to remember. There's a fantasy role-playing game. I reviewed it within the last couple of years. I know there's a lot. It's like there's a lot of role-playing games, a lot of fantasy role-playing games, but there was no light spell. And I thought it was funny because in the book it says that's what torches are for. We don't use magic for such mundane things. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. So we have the Golden Order and the lore of metal. So we've got the Alchemist, the Gold Wind, and then we get the lore of metal spells such as Curse of Rust, Feather of Lead, Forge of Shaman, Gilded Cage. We have the Jade Wind. So Kevin King says, this Whiffrip book looks to be 80% world building and 20% crunch. I don't know. I would say, yeah, I wouldn't say that big a difference. Because it's, as an example, we'll take a look here. So background about the Jade Order, new career. Yeah, this is kind of fluff. NPCs and new spells. 50-50, I would say maybe, which actually isn't too bad. I like the world building and setting of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And I'm really excited, and I've said this on multiple occasions, to see what's going to happen now that the Empire in Ruins has come out. The Enemy Within campaign has concluded. So I know I just shared a news piece about the Ubers-like Adventures 3, and those all take place following the events of The Enemy Within. So I thought that was pretty cool. So we got Lore of Heavens. What was our... Did we get a new... There we go. The Astromancer. I was going to say, where's our new career? Magisters who channel Azir are... You know, I just mispronounced that. Are Astromancers, also known as Celestial Wizards or Blue Wizards by the uneducated. They favor skull caps, high-collared cloaks, and expensive robes in deep blues and blacks, emblazoned with silver and gold motifs to represent the night sky. Somewhere on their person, they wear the symbol of their order, the Comet of Power. Many present a well-groomed, aloof appearance to the world. Nice. Then we have the lore of heavens, such as Comet of Cassandra, Divination, Fate's Fickle Fingers. All allies within the area of effect, excluding those with the arcane magic heavens talent, create a single pool of fortune points. All may draw on the pool, first come, first served. When the spell ends, you reallocate any remaining fortune points as fairly as possible. Overboard says the only books they don't have are the 3 pre-order books. I know we've got Q4 is bringing Lustria. I want to say it's Lustria comes in November. And we've got the Ubersreich Adventures 3 is a Q1 of next year. At the top of my head, I can't think of the third book. We've got the Shadowmancer. The only thing a gray wizard is certain of is that nothing is certain in this world, and that things are rarely as they seem. They know that lies often cover up other lies and become so used to falsehood and deception that they have trouble recognizing the truth as it is. Shadowmancers are distrustful people who rarely believe what they see at face value and always look for false bottoms, hidden meanings, and concealed motives. In return, they are careful to withhold their own beliefs and intentions. Truth has value, they've learned, and items of value shouldn't be just given away. I like that. That's cool. And then we have the lore of shadows, such as black horrors, doppelganger, horn of Andar, hush. You create a sound dampening aura of Ulgru, which moves with the target. Hush cannot be cast on an unwilling target, although an object targeted by Hush could be picked up after it's cast. The spell has 3 forms. Choose one at the time of casting. No sounds leave the area of effect, but sounds still enter the area of effect. No sounds enter the area of effect, but sounds produced within are treated normally. Or no sounds are produced within the area of effect. Oh, there we go. Archive of the Empire 3. Thank you, Overboard. So then we've got the lore of death, which includes the Spiritor. If the Wizards of the Gold College are the most accepted by Imperial society, those of the Amethyst College are the least, shunned and avoided wherever possible. There's something about their steady gaze and quiet, grim demeanor that often makes outsiders feel like a corpse laid on a slab, ready for what exactly? I like how the big-ass scythe. Yep. Disciples of Death. And it looks like each of the schools get an important NPC. Might be the person who is the leader of that school. So we have the lore of death, acceptance of fate, ashes and dust, crystal maze, death's release. You surround a spirit with shaish to unbind it from the world. Creatures with both the undead and ethereal traits must pass a challenging cool test every round or receive a stunned condition as they are forced to confront their own state of existence. Spirits that accrue 3 stunned conditions are released from the mortal realm. That is another aspect of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay I've always liked. Even though the magic system is wonky, the spells are interesting and they are different. It's not just the usual that we're used to seeing from fantasy role-playing games. So then this is the lore of fire with the pyromancer. Bright wizards are the most belligerent of all the wizards of the Empire. This is common knowledge. Though other colleges are known for their particular sort of aggression and all serve the military in one capacity or another, the Bright College brings shock and awe to the battlefield like none other. This reputation may lack nuance and be the result of unsophisticated accounts by common soldiers and fraught enemies, but it is steeped in truth. The Bright Wizards often adopt a warlike and fearsome appearance, their staffs made of iron and topped with a brazier, ready to wield all-consuming flame. So Flaming Heron says a lot of icon spells as well, at least if you're a Warhammer fan. So with the Lord of Fire, we've got Body of Fire, Burning Head, Flame Storm, Flaming Hearts. Your voice takes on a rich resonance, echoing with Ashki's fiery passion. Affected allies lose all broken and fatigued conditions and gain the drilled, fearless, and stout-hearted talents. If a target already has one of these talents, they gain a temporary extra level. The lore of beasts, and that provides us with the shaman. Amber wizards are known for their feral appearance and lifestyle, more at home in the wilderness than the town, and with more affinity for animals than their fellow humans. Many wander the Empire's vast, untamed landscape, but just as many find a place they like and settle there. Every village in the Empire has a story of a local monster, giant, or witch who lives in the forest and is to be feared, but is seldom encountered. More often than not, this is an Amber wizard. So I'm going to take a guess. I can take a beast form. So Cesar Perez is with us. Good to see you. Says they're more an Age of Sigmar fan, but they like how it stems from Warhammer Fantasy. Quite different approach with AOS. To me, I find AOS, and I'll be very honest, I am not all that well versed because Sammy does the reviews for our Age of Sigmar role playing. To me, it's a far less crunchy system in my book. I think it's far easier for people to get into than Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and you're playing like epic heroes like right off the bat, and I think a lot of people dig that as well. Right, some of the lore of beasts. There we go. I guessed it, beast form. Figured it had to be coming with that. We've got Beast Tongue, Flock of Doom, Eyes of the Pack. You allow the target to see through your eyes. The target can switch between their own perspective and yours at will without range limits. Your line of sight may assist certain spells, such as teleportation. The target cannot cast spells through your body, however. Right, then we get into some magical artifacts with wizard's robes and magic potions. A potion for hair loss. A day after drinking the potion, the drinker loses their hair. For a minor effect, it comes out in clumps but grows back normally. For a moderate effect, it grows back with noticeable bald spots. Jeez. Power stones. Cursed items. Bow of bloody empathy. This bow is crafted. This bow is crafted from fine, subtle wood and has what seems to be... I need a sip here. Cesar says this and the Zoo are really cool books. The Imperial Zoo has kind of a like underlying story running through it too. This bow is crafted from fine, supple wood and has what seems to be a perfect balance and heft. To humans, dwarves, and halflings, it appears to be of elven manufacture, although any elf with experience of making or using elf bows will immediately recognize it as non-elven. In battle, it grants plus 20 to the ranged bow skill. However, if a successful attack with this bow has a success level of 2 or less, in other words, if it only struck true because of the curse, something goes wrong with the bow. The string snaps back against the archer's hand, ear, or face, or the bow jerks unevenly and one of its ends improbably strikes the archer, or the string slices a finger, and so on. The archer gains 1 bleeding condition. The Mammoth says they have a natural immunity to the baldness potion. So we got a little bit of a bestiary. Yes. Some magical creatures. Magical constructs. There's quite a lot in this book. So we have here familiars. Familiars as characters. Oh wow, that's pretty wild. That's funny. I don't know if I know anybody who would want to play as a familiar. but you never know. And the winds at work, the effects of magic on the world. I like the spell familiar. I have used the concept of the grimoire with legs umpteen times running fantasy role-playing games over the years. There's just something about it that I like. I think it's just kind of cool. Storms of magic, ley lines, waystones, and their properties, the great vortex, nexuses of power, the Forge of Henoth. These are magical places. Oh, arcane fulcrums. Maybe it's my imagination, but I think there's more color artwork in this book than I'm used to seeing with a lot of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay releases. A lot of times it's a lot of line art or just artwork that's being reproduced in grayscale, but that's not, we've seen a few. It's usually the character images that we see that grayscale. Nice. So we have magical nemesis and adventures. I think that might be how we're going to wrap up. The Blue Scribes of Zinich. Yeah, it looks like we've got little, like one-page adventures here, and then we're going to wrap up with our index. So the reality is, even though it's indicated it's 220 pages, it's really 224. Like the magic license to give your characters, so they're licensed to practice magic in the Empire. That's cool. I like that. And then we get a map of the Empire. I think it was on the opening. Oh no, that was Altdorf. Cool. All right, so that is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Winds of Magic from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. I will have a review of Winds of Magic in the very near future. All righty, that is it for this time out. As I mentioned, I got a lot of stuff cooking this weekend. As I also had shared with you, it was going to be a surprise, but because it was mentioned, that announcement from Troll Games about Castle Zagig, I think, once again, I don't know if that's pronounced or not. Dan Webb is with us in chat. I think this might be a first-time visit for Dan. Thanks for stopping on in. But I was going to say, I should have, if we're doing that interview, that'll be up tomorrow night. I am going to share first look videos of Cults of RuneQuest, The Lightbringers, as well as Cults of RuneQuest, The Earth Goddesses. Should also have my review of Pirate Borg and a review of Pathfinder Rage of Elements. And I'm going to try to get the Pathfinder preview up. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to include the first adventure in the new adventure path, even though it's really not an August release. I got it in August. So we'll actually be taking a look at the first two chapters of the three-part adventure path. The Harrow deck is finally out. I know that was supposed to be out for the, I think it was the last adventure path. And then we also have a flip mat we'll be taking a peek at. So lots and lots of goodies on the horizon throughout the weekend and into early next week. Next week, on Tuesday's show, we're going to take a first look at Broncolonia, the, what is it, Jinx's Almanac. I almost said The Revenge of Jinx. It's like, no, that's The Empire Wax Back, which is something we'll be taking a look at it in the future as well. So this will be on Tuesday's live show. Then Wednesday, we'll have another War Game Wednesday. We're going to take a look at Plantagenet, which is the latest in the Levian campaign series from GMT Games. And then a week from today, we are going to take a peek at Tiny Epic Vikings, as well as its Ragnarok expansion from Gameland Games. We've got plenty cooking, so stay tuned. All right, that's it for it this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell, because not only will it let you know when the dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings. I almost said Monday, but I didn't. I almost said it, but I didn't. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as the aforementioned first look at Cults of RuneQuest, the Earth Goddesses. I almost said Earth Mothers. It's the Earth Goddesses from Chaosium Inc. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you are not going to find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who is watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching live and took part in chat, a big tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company. And once again, it was very weird early on in the show, and I'm like saying nothing in chat. I'm like, all right, YouTube's messed up, because I know there's somebody floating around in chat. The days of nobody in chat for like the first 10, 15 minutes of the show are long gone. So hopefully long gone. We don't see that happen again. Anywho, enjoy the rest of the week. Have a great weekend. And of course, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And of course, as always, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.